Picture yourself as a 17-year-old girl, not in the modern world of streetlights and screens, but in a city made of stone and water, where gods rule every heartbeat, and where the stars above dictate the rhythm of your life. Before we delve into these overlooked tales of endurance and pain, if you find yourself drawn to the hidden corners of history, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories like this. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I am always amazed that we can explore these ancient narratives together, no matter where we are in the world, united by our curiosity about the past. The year is the early 1500s. The place is Tenochtitlan, the beating heart of the Aztec Empire, a city unlike anything the world has ever seen. Imagine an island city rising from the shimmering waters of Lake Texcoco, its causeways stretching out like the arms of a great spider, connecting the sacred capital to the mainland. Canals cut through its neighborhoods, carrying canoes heavy with maize, fish, and flowers. Whitewashed temples rise above the streets, their staircases painted red with old blood, while the smell of burning copal resin curls through the air, sweet and choking at once. And among these sights and sounds, among the chaos of merchants, warriors, and priests, one girl walks, unaware that she has been chosen. Her name, in the tongue of the Mexica, is Xilanen. To her family, she is simply Zil, a bright-eyed daughter whose laughter once filled the courtyard of their modest home. But to the priests and to the empire itself, she is more than a daughter. She is to become Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror, god of fate, of night, of sorcery, and of sacrifice. It begins with a whisper. Priests in jaguar pelts and blackened robes speak her name. They have seen her walking along the market square, carrying maize for her mother. They have seen the light in her face, the strength in her body, the harmony of her features. To the Aztecs, beauty was no idle trait. It was divine symmetry, a reflection of the gods themselves. And Zil bore that reflection. The day she is chosen, her world ends, though she does not yet know it. She is taken not by force, but with ceremony. The priests come in procession to her family's home, their obsidian blades gleaming at their waists, their incense burners spilling fragrant smoke. Neighbors gather, watching in hushed awe. To be chosen is both honor and terror, a fate envied and feared. Zil's mother weeps silently, her hands pressed to her lips. Her father lowers his head in reverence, though his jaw trembles. The high priest declares the choice. Xilanen, you are to become Tezcatlipoca Xiptla, his living image. For 1 year you shall walk among us as the god himself. You shall be clothed, fed, and adored as a deity. And when the year has turned, your blood will feed the sun. There is no appeal. No protest. To refuse would be blasphemy, and worse, a curse upon one's family. Zil feels her heart pounding in her chest, like the great drums that echo across the city on holy days. She is 17, trembling, yet the eyes of her people rest upon her, and she knows there is no choice. She bows her head. The decision is sealed. From that day, Zil's transformation begins. They strip away her old clothes, the simple huple of a girl from the artisan quarter. In their place, they dress her in the finery of a goddess. Feathers of the quetzal, long and iridescent, spill down her back like green fire. Bracelets of jade and obsidian catch the sun on her wrists. A cloak of cotton, dyed with cochineal red, hangs from her shoulders. On her face, they paint the black stripes of Tezcatlipoca, and on her lips, they press the pigment of crushed flowers. When she walks, people bow. Children stare in awe. Men avert their eyes, for she is no longer mortal. She is the smoking mirror. But inside, Zill's heart rebels. She is still the girl who once laughed in her mother's kitchen. She is still the child who chased dragonflies in the chinampas, the floating gardens of her city. Now those memories feel like echoes from another world, one she is forbidden to return to. Her laughter is gone, replaced with the heavy silence of ritual. Every morning, priests come to her chamber to instruct her. She learns the songs of Tezcatlipoca, the hymns sung to the god who peers through obsidian mirrors, who knows the fate of all men. She learns to walk with measured grace, to tilt her head as though her thoughts are divine, to accept the offerings of flowers and food from those who approach her. She is not alone, for women are chosen to accompany her, noble daughters trained in song and dance. They serve as her attendants, but also her shadows. They remind her constantly, "You are no longer Xilanen. You are Tezcatlipoca. Forget the girl you were." And so she tries. But at night, when the temple fires burn low and the city falls silent, she lies awake on her reed mat, staring into the darkness. She hears the distant cries of captives in the temple cages. She hears the drums that beat even at midnight, reminding her that blood is the price of the sun. She feels the weight of time pressing upon her. 1 year, only 1 year, until her heart will be cut from her chest. And yet, in that same darkness, another thought takes root. For this year, she is a goddess. For this year, she will walk where no mortal may tread. She will taste every pleasure, see every secret, and know the reverence of an empire. If death waits at the end, then let the journey be glorious. The city itself bends to her presence. When Zil walks through the market square, merchants throw down flowers at her feet. The air is rich with the smell of roasted cacao, of burning chiles, of honeyed tamales steaming in baskets. Women selling woven cloth pause mid-bargain to bow. Warriors in eagle headdresses press fists to their chests. For all of them know, Tezcatlipoca has come among them, in the body of this girl. Children follow in her wake, giggling until scolded. Old men murmur prayers as she passes. And everywhere she turns, obsidian mirrors are held aloft, polished stones catching her reflection, reminding her of the God she embodies. But there are darker moments, too. One afternoon, she is led to the great temple, where captives await sacrifice. These are enemy warriors taken in battle. They are painted blue, their hair bound tight, their faces streaked with white chalk. They sing defiantly, though their voices crack with fear. Zil is made to watch as the first is laid upon the stone, his chest torn open with an obsidian blade. His heart is lifted high, still beating, his blood streaming down the temple steps. The crowd roars, incense fills the air, and Zil feels her knees weaken. This is her fate. This is the mirror held before her. Yet the priests watch her closely, their eyes sharp. She cannot flinch. She cannot cry. She is Tezcatlipoca, and Tezcatlipoca does not fear. So she straightens her back, forces her breath to steady, and gazes unblinking at the sacrifice. Inside, her heart shatters, but on her face, she wears the mask of the god. And so the year unfolds. Zil is given a palace to dwell in, with gardens of fragrant flowers and pools that reflect the sky. She is fed the finest foods, chocolate whipped with honey, tortillas hot from the griddle, meat spiced with chili and herbs. Musicians play for her, dancers whirl in her honor, noblemen bow before her, offering gifts of gold, turquoise, and featherwork. Yet with each passing moon, the weight of destiny grows heavier. The people adore her, but their adoration is sharpened with hunger. for they know that her death will nourish the cosmos. They look at her not as a girl, but as a vessel, a cup already filled with blood that will soon be spilled. Zil knows this too. She feels it in every step, every gaze. She is a living offering, walking day by day toward the knife. And yet, there are moments when she forgets. Moments when she runs her hand along the cool stone of the temple walls and feels their ancient strength. Moments when she watches the sun rise over the lake, painting the water gold, and her breath catches with awe. Moments when laughter escapes her, brief and forbidden, with the attendants who guard her night and day. In those fleeting instants, she is Zil again. Not Tezcatlipoca, not a goddess, not a sacrifice. Just a girl, 17, alive. But always the drums return. Always the smoke rises. Always the shadow of the obsidian blade waits at the end of her path. And thus the year of Tezcatlipoca begins. A year of splendor. A year of terror. A year of walking between the worlds of the living and the divine. And though she does not yet know it, her final day will be carved into the memory of her people forever. The first weeks pass in a blur of ritual and ceremony. Every day has its purpose, every step its meaning. For Zil, there are no idle hours. She wakes before dawn, when the city is still cloaked in mist, and the temple bells summon the faithful. Priests arrive at her chambers to paint her face with black stripes and press burning incense into her hands. She walks barefoot to the edge of her garden pool, where her reflection shimmers in the still water. They tell her, "See not yourself, but Tezcatlipoca. The mirror is his, and through it, he watches all." First, she cannot bear to look, but soon the reflection begins to change. Some mornings she sees not her own eyes, but eyes that seem older, darker, filled with secrets. Some mornings the pool ripples though no wind blows. And once, only once, she swears she hears a voice from the water. A whisper low and cruel, saying her name. The priests tell her not to fear. Tezcatlipoca speaks only to his chosen. It is a blessing, but Zil feels it as a wound. Her life, though sacred, is also rich with pleasures. Pleasures meant to dull the terror of what awaits her. She is surrounded by attendants, noble-born women who treat her as both sister and queen. They bathe her in scented water, comb her hair with jade combs, and clothe her in fabrics dyed the colors of hummingbird wings. They sing to her as they work, songs of the gods, their voices rising like smoke in the air. And always there are gifts. Warriors bring her necklaces of obsidian, their edges sharper than glass. Merchants bring cacao beans, heaped in baskets like treasure. Craftsmen bring her shields painted with serpents and eagles, meant to remind her that Tezcatlipoca is also a god of war. Every gift is a reminder. She is the vessel, the living image of the god, and the people pour their devotion into her as if filling a chalice. But Zil learns that gifts can cut like blades. One day, a nobleman presents her with a flute of polished bone, its surface carved with spirals and jaguar heads. He bows deeply, but when she lifts the flute to her lips and blows a trembling note, she feels the bone warm in her hand. The priest beside her leans close and whispers, "It was made from the thigh bone of a warrior sacrificed last season." His spirit carries the song. The flute slips from her grasp. The note echoes into silence. The nobleman smiles as if he has given her a treasure. But Zil feels her stomach twist. Nothing is pure here, not even music. Everything is drenched in death. Still, she is expected to embrace joy, for Tezcatlipoca is a god of contradictions, both cruel and generous, mocking and wise. To embody him, She must taste every sweetness the world has to offer. And so the priests arrange feasts for her. Great banquets are laid in her honor, the air heavy with the smoke of roasting meats, the scent of cacao thick with honey. Musicians pound drums until the earth trembles. Dancers spin in circles, their feathered costumes blazing like fire. Nobles laugh and drink until their words slur. And at the center of it all sits Zil, her body draped in shimmering cloth, her hair bound with quetzal feathers. Attendants feed her morsels of turkey spiced with chili, press cups of frothy chocolate to her lips, place flowers in her hands until she cannot hold more. She is worshipped not just as a god, but as a queen. But beneath the revelry lies the sharp edge of knowledge. These pleasures are not hers to keep. They are borrowed moments like jewels she must return. Every bite she eats, every song she hears, every hand that touches hers. All of it will end with the obsidian knife. She learns to smile anyway, to laugh when the dancers spin too wildly, to sip the chocolate and close her eyes, pretending it is only sweetness and not a farewell. But as months pass, something stirs inside her. The longer she lives as Tezcatlipoca, the harder it becomes to separate herself from the god she embodies. She begins to feel power in her steps, as though the city itself bows to her presence. She notices the way people look at her, not as a mortal girl, but as the smoking mirror, a god who sees into their souls. And sometimes, when she gazes into the obsidian mirrors placed before her, she sees not fear but hunger, a hunger for something more. There are nights when she dreams of fire, of the sky torn open with stars that bleed light. She dreams of walking through the streets of Tenochtitlan, her hands dripping with blood, while the people cheer. She wakes trembling, unsure if these are dreams, or if Tezcatlipoca himself has touched her mind. Her attendants whisper among themselves. They see the change in her. Her eyes grow sharper, her laughter stranger. Sometimes, in the middle of a song, she falls silent, her gaze fixed on something unseen. Once, when a young servant stumbled and spilled a cup of water at her feet, Zil laughed. A laugh too sharp, too cruel, a laugh that silenced the entire hall. The priests smile when they see this. To them, it is proof. The god lives within her. But Zil wonders, is she losing herself? Or is she becoming what she was meant to be? Half the year passes. 6 moons have come and gone. By now, the city knows her not as Xilanen, but as Tezcatlipoca. Children whisper her name like a charm. Old women leave offerings of maize and flowers outside her palace. Warriors pray to her before battle, asking her favor. She is everywhere and nowhere, a god walking in flesh. But with each passing day, the shadow of the end looms larger. The priests remind her often, when the year is complete, you must die without fear. That is the highest honor. Your heart will keep the sun alive. Zil nods when they say this. She has learned to nod, to bow, to smile. But inside, her blood runs cold. She thinks of her mother's hands, worn from grinding maize. She thinks of her father's laughter, low and rumbling, the sound of safety. She thinks of the small courtyard of her childhood home and the way the sun used to fall across its stones. Will she ever see them again? Will they even remember her as Zil or only as Tezcatlipoca, the god who borrowed their daughter's body for a year? At night, when the city sleeps, she whispers her true name to herself. Xilanen, Xilanen, as though speaking it will keep her alive, as though words alone can defy fate. And yet, fate draws closer. The second half of the year will not be like the first. The ceremonies grow darker. The feasts grow stranger. The priest's demands grow heavier. Zil feels the walls of her palace close in, feels the obsidian mirrors multiply, each one reflecting her face not as a girl, but as something inhuman. And still she walks forward, for she is the chosen vessel. She is Tezcatlipoca. She is the sacrifice that will bind the sun to the sky. And her final day is coming. The city changes with the seasons. The air grows heavier, the rains fall harder, and the great lake around Tenochtitlan swells with life. But for Zil, the days blur into a single current pulling her toward the inevitable. In the second half of her year, the rituals shift. They are no longer gentle, no longer laced with laughter and feasts. Now the ceremonies are sharpened with blood. Where once she danced with flowers, she now carries obsidian blades. Where once she tasted honey and cacao, she now drinks the copper tang of sacrifice. The priests tell her, "It is the God preparing you. The closer you come to the end, the more his spirit fills you." And indeed, Zil feels herself hollowing. Her laughter comes less often. Her voice, once soft, now echoes with something harder. Even her dreams twist into nightmares. She dreams of walking barefoot up the temple steps, her chest already open, her heart already gone. She wakes to find her hands clenched as if gripping something unseen. Her attendants watch her carefully, whispering that she has grown too quiet, but the priests are satisfied. To them, silence is sacred. To them, she is becoming what she must be. Not a girl, not even a queen, but a sacrifice walking toward its destiny. The feasts continue, but they are different now. Gone are the wild dances and songs of joy. Instead, the air is thick with smoke from burning copal resin. The food is rich but heavy, as though every bite weighs down her spirit. And always there is blood. Not hers, not yet, but the blood of animals, of birds, of captured warriors. Their hearts are cut out in her honor, their blood painted across her arms and chest. "See how they die for you," the priests say. "When your time comes, you will be as they are. A gift, a flame for the sun." Zil tries to hold onto her humanity, but the city itself conspires against her. Children kneel when she passes. Warriors avert their gaze. Even the old women who once called her by name now bow their heads, whispering prayers as though she is no longer mortal. And sometimes Zil wonders if they are right. For Tezcatlipoca is a god of smoke and mirrors, a trickster who blurs truth and lie. And as her year wanes, Zil cannot always tell what is real. One evening, she walks through her garden and finds the flowers blooming black as obsidian. Their petals cut her skin when she touches them. She cries out, but her attendants see nothing strange. "They are only flowers, my lady," they insist. Another night, she looks into the pool of water where she once saw her reflection. Now the surface ripples into an image of herself crowned in jaguar skin, her hands dripping with blood not her own. She stumbles back, gasping, but when she turns to show her attendants, the pool is only water again. Is this the god speaking? Or is her mind unraveling beneath the weight of fate? The priests smile when she tells them, "It is Tezcatlipoca." He reveals himself more clearly as the end draws near. But Zil feels less chosen than consumed. As the 11th moon rises, the city begins to prepare for the great festival of Toxcatl, the day her life will end. Everywhere she goes, she sees signs of it. The temple steps are scrubbed clean with sand. New obsidian knives are sharpened until they gleam. Dancers practice for the procession, their bare feet slapping against stone. The drums echo through the streets at all hours, a rhythm that seeps into her bones. The people are eager. For them, Her death is not tragedy but triumph. They believe her heart will feed the sun. Her blood will keep the world alive. Children smile when they see her, not knowing they smile at a girl walking to her death. Zil learns to smile back. But behind the mask of her lips, her fear deepens. And yet something strange happens in these final weeks. Zil begins to feel a strange peace, as though she has passed through fear and come out the other side. Perhaps it is exhaustion. Perhaps it is madness. Or perhaps it is Tezcatlipoca himself, settling more firmly into her skin. When she looks into the obsidian mirrors now, she no longer flinches. When she hears the drums, she no longer trembles. Instead, she begins to walk taller, her steps more certain. She begins to see herself as the priests see her, not as a victim, but as a vessel. She thinks of her parents less often. She whispers her name less often. She even begins to forget the taste of maize from her childhood, the warmth of her father's laughter. Instead, she remembers the faces of those who kneel before her, the gifts laid at her feet, the way the city hums with her presence. She is no longer Zil. She is Tezcatlipoca, and soon she will be more than either. The 12th moon rises. Her year is nearly done. The final nights are filled with ceremonies, each darker than the last. She is led to the temple rooftops to breathe the smoke of burning herbs until her mind swims. She is made to walk barefoot through paths lined with bones, while the people chant her name. She is bathed in water scented with marigolds and blood, her skin shining like polished stone. And on the eve of her death, the priests bring her 4 companions, young men chosen to be her guardians, her shadows, her brothers. They will walk with her in the final procession, playing flutes carved from bone. Their music will guide her steps to the temple, and when she dies, they will die with her. They kneel before her, their eyes calm, their faces painted black. Zil looks at them and feels something shift in her chest. For the first time in months, she feels not alone. But the comfort is brief, for dawn is coming, and with it the knife. The dawn of her last day comes heavy with mist. The city wakes before the sun, its streets alive with murmurs and footsteps. From every canal, from every island, from every stone street, the people gather, drawn toward the great temple like blood flowing to a heart. Zil wakes to the sound of drums, slow, steady, inevitable, like the beat of the organ inside her chest. Her attendants clothe her one final time. They wrap her in bright feathers, paint her skin with black stripes of obsidian dust, and place the golden nose ornament across her face. They set the jaguar cloak on her shoulders, heavy as fate itself. And then, at last, they crown her head with a headdress of quetzal feathers so tall it brushes the ceiling. She looks in the mirror of polished obsidian. A girl no longer stares back. She sees a god cloaked in smoke and shadow, a figure destined for the knife. The priests bow. It is time. The procession begins. The 4 guardians step before her, their flutes carved of bone lifted to their lips. The sound that comes is eerie and thin, a song both mournful and serene. Behind them, the priests walk, carrying staffs crowned with skulls. And at the very center, between drums and incense, walks Zil, her steps slow, her heart racing. All around, the people press in. They throw flowers at her feet. They chant her name, then chant the gods. Tezcatlipoca, Tezcatlipoca. The air is thick with petals and smoke, with the cries of thousands. But the sound is not joy. It is reverence. It is hunger. The city has waited all year for this day. The city is ready to be fed. Zil walks on, the flutes guiding her steps. The temple looms above her, a mountain of stone, its stairway rising into the sky. At the top, the altar gleams in the sun. From below, it looks small, but Zil knows it is wide enough to hold her body, long enough to stretch her arms. She begins to climb. Each step is heavy, as though the earth itself pulls at her ankles. The drums thunder louder, matching the pounding of her heart. The flutes keen like morning birds. The crowd chants and cries, 1,000 voices rising and falling like waves. And still she climbs. Her guardians climb with her, their flutes never faltering. The priests follow, chanting prayers older than the city itself. The incense thickens, burning her eyes. At last, she reaches the top. The altar waits. The high priest, cloaked in black and gold, steps forward. His face is painted half white, half black, the mask of life and death. In his hands, he holds the obsidian knife, its edge shining like a shard of night. He raises it high. The crowd below roars, then falls silent. Zil is guided to the altar. Her cloak is taken from her shoulders, her headdress removed. The feathers scatter, carried off by the wind. She is laid on her back, her arms stretched wide, her chest exposed to the sky. Above her, the sun blazes. Below her, the city waits. The priest leans close, whispering so only she can hear. Be not afraid. You are the god. You are the gift. Zil closes her eyes. The drums stop. The flutes wail one final note, thin as a dying breath. And then the knife descends. A white-hot pain tears through her chest. Her body arches, her mouth opens in a cry, but the sound is lost in the roar of the crowd. The priest's hands move with practiced speed, parting flesh, pulling open bone. And then, with a triumphant cry, he lifts her heart high into the sun. Blood spills across the stone, running down the temple steps in dark rivers. The people below scream in ecstasy, their arms raised high. Flowers and feathers fall like rain. Zil's eyes, wide and fading, see the sky blur into smoke. She sees the priest's hand, her heart still beating within it. She sees nothing at all. Her body lies still. Her name is gone. Only the god remains. But it does not end there. The 4 guardians, who led her with their flutes, are seized. One by one, they are laid beside her, their throats cut swiftly. Their blood joins hers, their bodies piled as offerings. The flutes fall silent, their music lost forever. The crowd roars again, and then the drums begin anew. Faster, harder, wild. The people dance, they feast, they celebrate, for the god has been fed. The sun strengthened, the world preserved. The girl who was Zil is forgotten. She is a name the wind carries away. She is smoke rising into the sky. Only Tezcatlipoca remains. And so ends the year of the chosen one. A year of beauty and terror, of feasts and nightmares, of a girl turned god and god turned sacrifice. But even as the people dance, even as the priests clean the knife for the next offering, the cycle turns. Somewhere in the city, another youth is already being watched, already being measured. Somewhere, another year is waiting to begin. And Tezcatlipoca smiles, for smoke and mirrors never fade.